I'm Kathryn Harvey. I've been turning 3 years as of this February. I discovered that in looking at people's pieces, I really enjoyed adding embellishments and color. I have a grand appreciation for a beautiful piece of wood, but it was kind of fun because you can take a very plain piece of wood and make it into something rather special by adding whatever embellishment. And in my case, I clearly like to work with color. I found that this demonstration was a little challenging because it's such an incredibly broad topic. And the application of color is actually quite short. It's it's all the prep work to get to it, but that involves a lot of sanding and maybe fumes and rattle cans. And so I've tried to avoid that so that I don't expose everybody to those toxins. I pre-prepped a lot of things to kind of show the various mediums that I use. A lot of this is, what medium to achieve what effect. So I am prepared to, I certainly won't get through everything, but if there's a particular interest in people, I can hopefully demonstrate most of the stuff that's on this table. I have other pieces over there that are not things that I have prepped for, but just examples of what you can do with color. So I'm going to start out. Oops, what happened here? Okay. So I spend most of my time trying to find the tool I just had in my hand and looking for horizontal space. It constantly gets filled up. So this is my challenge for the year. Better dust control and keeping things where I can go to and have horizontal space. So anyway, coloring wood. So I'm going to start by talking about ebonizing. I'm sure other people have done quite a number of different things in terms of ebonizing, but the products that I've used, I'm going to talk about like 4 of them that I particularly enjoy. The first is this stuff, Chestnut. It's an English company. It's an ebonizing lacquer. It's very paint-like. You can see it creates this wonderfully smooth surface on which to, as a canvas, and is great for certain effects where you need a smooth surface to send the paint skidding across. I put tiny amounts of paint in the center and then send it flying on the lathe, hopefully not literally. The centrifugal force just, so this product is really great. The downside of this product is that you lose the grain of the wood. You don't see that, but in a lot of the work that I'm doing, that may not matter. So these pieces, for example, are coated first with this stuff. And I can pass this around so you can kind of appreciate the, whoops, what happened?
That's me.
The next is black inks and dyes and stains. You tend to see the grain of the wood better with those things, but they may not give as a depth of coverage. I had a piece here that I was going to show, and of course it's gotten swallowed up. But where is it? Oh, here. And you can see here, the grain will show through. This is, I believe, chestnut stains, which is an alcohol-based stain. There are water-based stains, which I created this piece with, and the alcohol-based stains, which I've used to create this and this. These are also the same stains as that. They're water-based.
Kathryn, would you hold that sort of under the overhead camera so they can see that?
Here?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll demonstrate this stuff, but I did this mostly to kind of demonstrate different kinds of ebonizing. And this is the dye. You can see the colors coming through. You can also put inks and dyes on top of each other, but the dyes may come off. You're going to need a top coat. You're probably going to put a top coat on it anyway. This is here with yakisugi, burning the wood and then adding a layer of dye, and I'll kind of demonstrate that. I particularly like yakisugi because it gives such it just pops the grain. It's so beautiful and it has a very natural look to it. So it is a technique that I enjoy. I will show you here. I'll send this one around because this you can see, you can burn to different effects. You can burn it rather darkly. You can create an effect where you're really just burning the lines, and that's what I'll often do on the inside. I burn the outside to very dark, and then on the inside, I'll do a much lighter, but it enhances the grain. And this works beautifully on things like ash. This is elm. Elm also is quite nice. This is yakisugi as well, but this is on maple. The grain doesn't quite pop as much. So if I'm really wanting to enhance the grain, I'll do like that nested ash set or this, or elm. They show the grain beautifully with this technique. So I can pass this around, but I wanted to kind of show, you will have areas that are a little bit lighter and the wood may show through. You may want that as an effect, but I will often use a color to even things out. Yeah, where's mine? And so you get a background hue of kind of a purple, in this case, it's a plum purple. And it can give a nice contrast that's kind of subtle. So I will pass these two around and then I'll kind of show what I do if people want to see these.
In a similar vein, have you ever found that once you put color on, and then, as you say, you put a top coat on, that it just dissolves the original color and it just goes twice?
I have not, but I was going to talk about that a little bit with these chameleon powders. This is a band of powder, and I'll show how to do this. This is an Emma Cook product, and she advises against using a top coat because it will take the shimmer away. But I actually, like in this case, found that it enhanced it. So it brought out the figure in the wood and the shine. It was rather dull before the lacquer, actually this is shellac, before the shellac was added. So sometimes it enhances the color, and sometimes,
Dissolve things.
yeah. But the alcohol-based dyes, they tend not to raise the grain as much. I read that the water-based dyes set more firmly, but the alcohol grains, you can work on the surface. You can spray on denatured alcohol and or just put it on a rag and blend a little bit better, which is what I did to get this effect. Is that here?
No, underneath now.
Underneath? Okay. It's probably hard to see in this light, but there are streaks of orange and yellow that I wanted kind of in the background. So using an alcohol-based dye here, I was able to work it in so it didn't look like a big blob, which it starts out looking by, and I find very difficult to
Tip it
sand.
this way, would you? Jimmy, this is something, no, tip it toward me.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you can see it. It's,
Now just do this with it. And down, good.
yeah, this one's layered, starts with brown to kind of pick up the figure and the grain, and then a couple different reds, and then some orange on top. So,
Will you list the product that you use?
what do you mean?
What the brand is and coloring that you're using?
Yeah, I'll show you.
Okay.
Yeah. Getting back to yakisugi, you repurpose your creme brulee torch. And no longer, I haven't made creme brulee in years, but I have the torch, and I'm just going to kind of briefly demonstrate. This is elm. Am I in a good place? Should I Dave, are you in?
John, is there a smoke detector in here?
I'm not going to go very far with this, but you can you see? It takes a while. This will crack. There you go. We start to pick up on the grain there. This will crack if you apply too much heat, and you never want to do it with wet wood because it'll be in pieces. So you do want it dry, but what was really interesting, when I did that elm piece that was going around, that was, you see, it takes a while. I don't have this on very high, but there. You can see it takes a bit, so I don't want to smoke everybody out. That elm piece that's going around, I think John has it right now. It was a very dry piece of wood. And when I put the torch to it, it shifted shape. So it's got a little oval to it, even having been what I thought was pretty dry. It'd been sitting around the shop a while. Yeah. So I love yakisugi because it really shows the grain of the wood and really brings out the natural beauty of it. But it can leave a little bit of a rough surface. There are ways to get around that by applying a top coat of wax. So when I'm working with paint, with this technique, which I'm hoping to show, and getting this cloud effect, you need it to move around on the surface. But with yakisugi, it's going to be kind of rough. So you can I put a few coats of Deft on to take that out, some form of lacquer. And then I had a nice surface where I could still see the grain of the wood, but move it around.
Have you tried using sanding sealer to smooth over the roughness from the burn?
So what I use is actually, I use these. It is a bristle brush, and it comes in various grits. It looks like it would really scratch the wood. It doesn't, and it'll denib from the process of the yakisugi. I find that this works really well. I use it for texturing as well when they're little bits. It comes in various designs, but I have a set of these in various grits that tend to work really well to get those bits off. And then, oh, this is magic. This stuff's fun. So there was a discussion a little while ago in an email going around about ways to ebonize something. Somebody was asking, I can't remember who, was asking the question to get a certain effect. And I'd been wanting for a while to try to make iron acetate. Iron acetate is a compound, you can't really buy it, but you can easily make it at home. It reacts with tannins in the wood. High tannin woods work better than low tannin woods. This is, and I can pass this around. What I did was a little home experiment where I took various woods and that's the native wood here. And then 1 coat of iron acetate, 2 coats of iron acetate, and then extra tannin and a couple coats to see what effect it would have. And you can see the maple reacts, maple and ash really don't react. They're low tannin woods. Walnut, cherry, or higher tannin woods, sapele does a beautiful job. Does anybody know what this is?
What?
Bowl.
What is Trius?
Everybody's right. Anybody know what kind of wood this is?
Here it looks like an oak. So,
Uh-uh.
It's Kathryn's wood.
Wait, what kind?
Kathryn's wood.
Catholic wood?
Kathryn's.
Oh, Catherine's wood. Yes, it is. Here, I'll pass this around.
As far as your tannin, you can add tannin to the
I'm
wood
gonna
by
get to
using
that.
tea bag.
Yeah. So in low tannin woods, and that's what I did on these pieces, you can steep black tea, very, very concentrated. There are a couple really good sources for this. One is from the Journal of Wood Science. I referenced it in this form or in this document. The Journal of Wood Science, they get very scientific about it and go through the reactions and stuff. I didn't read the whole thing. But they have a couple good tips. Turnawoodbowl.com also explains how to make this. It's really simple. You basically get a quart of vinegar and a steel wool pad. And you wash it because this has oils in it, apparently, in the production process. And then I rinsed it out with vinegar and put it in and submerged it. If it floats to the top, it rusts. I submerged it and let it sit for, they recommend 3 days. I tested it at 3 days. It worked great, but I let it sit a full week and the whole pad pretty much dissolves. You filter it and then you have a solution that you can ebonize with. So this is butternut. Butternut is an absolutely lovely wood. I love it. It's easy to work with. It's got a beautiful grain, but it is very high in tannins. And I wanted to show you, this is untreated butternut. I haven't put anything else on it. You can see, this is just the iron acetate solution. And you can watch it over time.
Have it turn toward the camera a little bit.
yeah, right over your laptop.
Or over another piece of wood that's high in tannin like walnut. And you can see it's beginning to turn a very deep and beautiful black. The more you put on, the richer the effect will get. So a very cheap and easy way to ebonize wood. And I had wanted a contrast with the light wood and the dark wood. So I thought, well, I'll try it with butternut. And you'll see on that sample, you can see the butternut reacts beautifully. I will at home put more layers of this on and work toward the effect. This stuff comes off on your hands. Patients have been asking me all week, what's wrong with your hands? It's various dyes, especially with the red dyes. It looks like I'm bleeding. Yeah, yesterday a patient's like, why are your hands all black?
Because I touched you.
This stuff. So it does kind of get over things. So I wasn't going to necessarily pass that around, but you can see what a beautiful effect that has. And it's so simple. You just wipe it on. And with products that, you know, we likely all have in our home, in our shops.
And it's durable, it lasts the color.
We're going to find out.
Okay,
Well, I'll put a top coat on.
okay.
In part so that it doesn't keep coming off. So that should help with durability. This is actually supposed to go quite deeply into the fibers. So in theory, it should last. I've seen people do countertops in kitchens with this. But you would need a top coat. There are products like,
Somebody back
You
here.
soak it as well, or always brush it on?
I've just brushed it on. I mean, you could soak it, but then you're gonna have a sopping wet piece of wood. So I would rather brush it on and control it. I pop the grain so it doesn't pop as much after this, but you can sand it back afterwards. Yeah, see how beautifully black that is now?
When you sand
That's
it, does the
incredible.
blackness come off?
It'll come off a little bit, but you can put more layers on, and the more layers you put on. So the recommendation I read was to sand it to 220 and then sand afterwards. I sanded this to 400 because I just couldn't get the curbs kept streaking, so I just kind of took it up higher. But you can still see it works beautifully, sanded to 400. So I'll continue to work on that piece and ebonize it further. Black tea, on Turnerwood Bowl, they recommend 10 to 15, like 10 tea bags for a cup. I put 2 tea bags in half a cup and got a very concentrated solution. I think this probably has a little cross with the iron acetate, and that's why it's turned even darker. But it worked really well. That's what I used in that piece. There is a tea powder called quebracho. It's a South American tree, and it's extremely high in tannins. And so you can make tea out of that and put it on and then add tannin. I was going to try that, and I ordered some, but they didn't ship it out for a week, so it'll be here Monday. But I'll play with it and see what it does to things like maple and ash, which are very naturally low in tannins.
You can buy tannin as a chemical on Amazon.
Right.
In small bottles. If you say, I want the maximum possible effect,
Yeah,
that's a possible alternative.
and I did look at that. I try not to buy on Amazon anymore. But this quebracho powder is where a lot of like people who dye textiles, yarns and whatnot, they'll use it for that as well. And it comes in various hues, but with wood, this is usually the effect that you're going for. So-
With coffee more?
What's that?
With coffee?
Coffee does have tannins in it. Yeah.
I think it would be a nice brown.
Might be. I didn't test coffee. I just tested black tea. By the way, black tea molds. If you sit around and leave it for a week. So I'm not sure I'd use this one anymore, but so I kind of wanted to get into some of these interference mediums from here. Does anybody have any questions about ebonizing? I think it depends on the look of the surface, the texture of the surface you want, the technique that you want to use. But I think my favorite is yakisugi, just for the look. Yeah.
I'll just throw out 2 other sources are, you go to the Shoe Repair Store by Black Shoe Guy, works wonderful.
Oh.
Being used by furniture makers for decades. And also if you have a small area or a certain element or a touch-up, Marks a Lot works really well.
What, the shoe polish, the shoe guy?
Marks a lot.
Oh, Mark's are. Oh, I didn't know that.
Mark,
Some of the Mark salons, however, fade with sunlight and time. And
okay, what?
they fade sometimes. I don't know if it's all brands or all of them, but I've had ones in which the jet black color ends up being gray.
Yeah.
People, I've read, use this a lot too. It's a Speedball Super Black India ink. It's got a little shellac in it. It sets really well. I've not used it before. I got some to try it, but haven't had a chance yet.
That does not fade. That is
This
just-
stuff,
that
yeah,
is-
that's what I've read.
It's a lamp black with shellac in it.
Mhm.
That's what it is.
Yeah. I was gonna show some of the interference mediums. Basically, it's like the pearlescence and the iridescence, and in this case, these, what do you call it, chameleon flakes and chameleon powders. They're color shifting. They're made with silica and then coated, these are with metal oxides. It's kind of like oil on water. You look at it from different angles and it shimmers. That's an interference effect. So if you look at these, you'll see they are different colors depending on the angle. Yeah, these are really fun. Here, I can send this around to show. This one will be purple, blue, green, depending on the angle. Can you?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to see here. Yeah, there's, well, if you, does it, yeah, there's more of the purple and the blue. And then it turns more into the reds. So these are really fun, and I'll show you how to adhere these. They're also ethereal powders. The chameleon flakes are meant to be used on a black background, on an ebonized background. The ethereal flakes you use on a white background, so it kind of gives a very shimmery, much more subtle effect. These are Emma Cook's products, but there's a company called Let's Resin that also makes here the I think that's what I used for these, the chameleon flakes. And these are a little bit easier to get because Emma's a UK turner, and you have to go through sources here in this country, and there are not that many. The Walnut Log sells her stuff, but it can take a while. She seems to be on back order a lot. So these are some of the chameleon flakes I use to demonstrate that. And then her ethereal powders, ethereal flakes, which you can see are whitish. But you put them on a background and they will shimmer. And they have more colors with this. Emma has like 6 or maybe a few more colors, but they've got a box of like 18 of color shifting powders.
I just wanted to say regarding the Let's Resin, you get those chameleon powders and make sure that you get that intense color shift variety, not the just chameleon. The shift is subtle to none. But if you get the ones that are intense color shift, they're amazing.
They're better. Yeah, I have some at home. I haven't opened it up yet. And
They
used it.
really,
This is the Let's Resin. Here, I can pass a couple of these around too.
Be very careful with those. They break real easily.
They do.
You look cross at them, they're done.
So the way that you apply this stuff, oops, I'm gonna need that back. Oh, I have to apply it. You see.
Kathryn,
Yeah,
you mentioned, Emmy Cook was the what? What was her name?
Emma Cook, the tiny turner. Have you heard of her?
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
And what was the other source you had?
Let's Resin.
Let's Resin.
Is this documented somewhere? There will be.
I have this form or this document that I created, and all of this information is on there.
Okay.
Yeah. It comes in pigments, which is more of a powder as well as flakes. And she recommends using the flakes. They're a little bit more robust. So what you do is, in this case, with this bowl here, you can pass it around and see. You ebonize a surface. In this case, I used black gesso, which is like a primer. It's kind of a chalky paint. Things stick to it really well. That's the same bowl as this, basically. I created a rim where I textured it. Can you see that?
When you say gesso, you're talking about what a painter puts on his canvas first before you start.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Do I have some? I should. Yep. Here. This is black gesso.
And that does what for you?
It's like a primer, and it's a little bit, gesso in Italian means chalk.
Okay.
So it's a little bit chalky, and it provides a surface that artists, people who paint, will use to create a background, and then the paint will adhere to it.
Okay.
So I first textured it just with the hand tool. And then I painted it black with the gesso. And this one, I put a little copper band around for more effect. And then from there, you have to use this material called metal leaf or acrylic size. And it helps to, for this stuff to adhere. So the thing about size is if you get it someplace you don't want it, things are going to adhere to it. So you really want to be cautious about where you put it. Take care. Also, everything sticks to it. So if you're doing this in a dusty environment, I was making one of these and I dropped it on the ground and I realized, wow, I have a lot of dog hair on the ground. And it went in the garbage. You can't really get it off very well. So you want to do it in a relatively clean environment. But I've pre-applied the metal size. You don't want it to cool. You want a pretty even coat, and then it has to sit for 20 minutes, 40 minutes to get tacky. If you put it on too soon, you're going to fail. This is the size that I use, metal leaf size, but there are different brands that are available. Easy Inlay sells, I think, Mohawk brand. So I have pre-applied it to a small area here, and it should be plenty tacky. Then you get a mop brush. And you don't want something where the bristles are coming off. You don't want it for the size. You want a brush that you don't care about too much because ultimately they're ruined.
Would you hold it in front of your face?
Which one? This one?
So I can see it.
Yeah. Looks like a makeup brush, right? Yeah, you can use a makeup brush.
Thank you.
And you just dab a little bit and you apply. And that black background helps this to kind of shimmer, though it's pretty rich and robust in color. But it also provides a little bit of uniformity. So if it doesn't go, all over, then your eye doesn't get distracted by seeing bare wood. So you can see it sticks. And once it sticks, it's done. You aren't going to get it off. I can pass this piece around too that I did with, I think I used Emma's. I don't think this was Let's resin. I think that was Emma's. And you can see it's pretty durable. She suggests, somebody asked this earlier, not using anything on top because it takes the shimmer away. But on something like that, dust was beginning to collect. And then I was having to clean it. And that's kind of a pain with all those textured surfaces. So I did put a couple light coats of lacquer on. So yeah, you just work it. And now it's not going to come off where the size is. But it's not going to stick ultimately to the wood where the
So it only sticks because of the size.
Mm-hmm. But make sure you let it get tacky or it's not going to work. Emma has a wonderful video online on YouTube making this particular bowl. And she talks about, a lot of this. So I love this stuff. It's blingy, it's shiny, it's glittery, it's kind of fun. And it's really pretty easy to work with as long as you let it get tacky. With your brush, when you're working with size, get it in water right away or you'll have to toss it. It's gonna get too tacky and too messy.
What's the name of that again?
The
Size?
the size?
Side?
Yeah, metal leaf size,
Oh,
SIZE.
oh, okay.
What is
Side.
that?
Oh, side. It's like sizing.
It's like a glue.
Like a glue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a varnish. It's
A varnish?
a varnish.
Oh, interesting.
Oh.
Yeah.
That I did not know.
Sizing, yeah.
And you don't want to put it on real thick.
And you didn't use a foam brush for that.
For the size, no, I think it would gum up too much and you'd have to toss it. So I use a brush where things, bristles are not gonna come out. But it's not gonna be my best paintbrush, so, ultimately. They come with, some of the kits come with this kind of a brush,
Yeah.
but, it was a little too broad for that. The size was gonna get on the other parts of the wood, so I used a narrower brush. But wash it right away or get it in water or the brush is, toast.
By the way, the size stuff is the same material you use for gold leaf and silver leaf and things like that. Oh, you were getting that.
Yeah. Leaf. So this here is variegated gold leaf. It's got, here, it's got colors running through. I'll try to hold it up.
This is accomplished by burning it in production.
Mm-hmm. You can see here, it's got variations in color. Can you see that?
Moving
Yeah.
forward. Anyway, so you can see from above.
Oh, it's above. I was moving toward Patrick. See?
Variegated,
So
there's red, blue.
this here I created with just regular, non-variegated. These are pearlescent paints on the outside, and I'll kind of go over some of the paints I use.
How do you get that so smooth on the inside?
It's
Come in
tricky.
Flat sheet.
Doing the inside of a curve is not easy. You kind of have to break it up in pieces. This stuff, and I'll show you here, is more than paper thin, and it breaks up. So a lot of people will take like tweezers, but when you're doing the inside of you can see it just wants to kind of float, so it's hard to control. I have treated this with size, and I don't know, can I, here?
Yeah, if you move forward, I'll get down here.
How much more fluid? Oh, yeah, that's okay.
No, we can't see.
Okay.
This
Okay, well, I think for the effect, having the camera from above would be helpful. So you want to try to put it on without bunching, but you can see here, it wants to bunch.
Yeah.
And then people will use their finger because you can get good control in applying it. But you can also use that mop brush. And
Oh, yeah, that's better.
yeah, you'll get a little more pressure with your finger in working out. But once it's kind of stuck, it's there. So if it bunches up, you don't get a very smooth effect. And then where it overlaps, you just kind of work it. And then you burnish it.
Why do you burn it?
You kind of rub it with,
Burnish. Oh, burnish.
Burnish it.
yeah.
Okay, so I know better.
You know the cloth that comes in your eyeglass case? This is pretty similar stuff.
You don't want to use a lot of pressure.
No, because it'll scratch.
Right off.
Yep. Yeah, so it's,
Ornamental only. You don't
it's pretty
want this
ornamental.
Really just
Yeah.
for those pieces.
Yeah, I'm not gonna throw my keys into that bowl over there.
Tip it this way, toward me, toward my.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
So that smooths it out, and there's a seam here, but you can blend it so that you don't see the seam.
Do pictures.
So, yeah. So it's pretty easy, but the inside of a bowl is a little trickier because the stuff is flying around and then it sticks and then you've got it bunched up and you're trying to work out those areas.
Don't breathe on it. It flies.
Is the interior of the bolt at the moment tacky, or is that?
No. Once you put the leaf over it, the tacky
But
is
the
gone.
sizing was tacky when you.
But it
sized
was,
down.
yeah, I had pre-treated it before, so that it would be ready to.
How long ago was that?
About 10 minutes before the meeting started, but by the time I got here, this stuff says it has a working time of up to 24 hours. So no sooner than 20 to 40 minutes, but you can leave it and come back up to 24 hours and you can still.
Well, I noticed that they're like $20. There's different, a lot of different colors here. It's not just the gold, like what you passed around first. Is there a reason that there's different colors in here? It looks really neat.
Yeah, this is variegated, so it's just I have plain old regular gold, which is what I used for gold color, which is what I used for that.
Oh.
The variegated comes in red, green, or blue, and it's splotched colors. And this is accomplished by the manufacturer using a torch or heat of some sort.
Oh.
They use a lot.
Amazing.
Do you put some sort of sealant over that?
You can, but you might get a diminished effect. There is a varnish that they recommend for this in particular. I haven't yet tried it. So,
Gold leaf sealer you put on.
That using some oil.
Yeah.
and I should have done this over paper so I could easily put it in, but I saved this because then you can use it for further projects. And it's more flaky now, but it'll adhere. So that's the chameleon flakes and the leaf, but I wanted to show a product that I really like. I did a little palette of it, and I don't see it now. These Josonia paints. They're really popular in the wood turning community. Emma Cook uses them, but a lot of people do. You can see these are iridescent paints that come in 6 colors through Josonia. Chromacraft makes them. Josonia is a woman up north in Eureka area, but I've seen turners worldwide use these. They're very thick, very rich, so many times you'll have to water it down. Well, no, don't water it because you'll lose the pigment, but you use her flow medium to sustain the color, but make it easier to apply. So
No, or water-based.
acrylic, so.
Okay, the
Yeah.
water-based.
So I have a couple examples of these paints that I've done a lot of stuff with these paints. You need the black background. You need to ebonize, or the color doesn't come out. You can see these paints they're whitish appearing. And when you put them out, it's very easy to mix up which is which, because unless it's on a black background, you can't see what color it is. But once on a black background, you can see that it brings out the various colors. These are accomplished here by different techniques. I'm going to demonstrate how to get this cloud effect. This is also these Josonia iridescent paints. I'll try to demonstrate how to do that. But they're really rich and vibrant. I wish they came in more colors. She does sell an iridescent medium that you can use to coat the top of a lot of her other colors, but it doesn't give quite the same effect as these, primarily, here's an example of an acrylic paint coated with her medium. So you can see it's not quite as rich as these, but if you want that iridescent effect, you can do it with any color. I tried painting these on, and here's the iridescent medium. So you can paint that on top and get that effect. But getting the effect on the surface was, where's a black piece? Ah, here. Was a bit of a challenge when I first started, because if you paint it, it doesn't look all that great. If you get too much on, it's white at the top. So you have to kind of be careful in the volume of paint that you put on. So what I do is go to the kitchen again and get some saran wrap.
Do you have to shake this stuff up?
It's too thick. It's really thick stuff. Yeah. And depending on the effect I want, you just take a small amount on an ebonized surface.
Do the top
Is
of
it-
it up down.
And I just kind of work it.
Oh, fun.
And it'll develop more in color over time.
You mean as it ages?
Yeah, so it'll get darker. Right now, it's pretty light. I'll leave an area where it's a little thick and you can kind of see what happens. So that's one effect. That's like the tricolor bowl that I sent around.
Tip it my way. Right,
Oh, yeah.
tip it my way. So,
Like that?
thank you.
Yeah,
Okay, there.
Kathryn.
With the other, the rimmed, the deeper bowl, you can use saran wrap again. A lot of people will break off a little piece of a sea sponge, dip it, and then you get bigger blobs. So it really depends on the effect.
The saran wrap effect.
The saran wrap effect.
Choosing a different brush. Never shot it.
Yeah.
I used to own a pizza shop and I sold it around 20 years ago. I still have saran wrap. So it depends on the effect you want. You can see with that other one, I did various colors, little blobs around the rim.
Tip it my way.
And this will dry further over time. You can come up and see it after. So
What is the time, the drying time?
usually about an hour, it's going to be fully, the color will be fully developed.
And how is those paints different than acrylic?
They are acrylic paints. It just has these iridescent colors, mediums.
So any iridescent acrylics would be similar?
I think the reason people like these is that they are so rich and so thick. I will often water this down for this effect because they are so thick with the flow medium.
You pass those around too? Or at least one of them, or is that?
Yeah. Here, this one's violet. Yeah, you can see how thick they are. So I usually end up watering it down. I'm going to show you how to get this effect. It's a kind of a cloud effect. So with this technique, you definitely want to thin it out a bit because you want to move it around on the surface. So I'll put a couple drops of the flow medium in.
Your bottles are blocking the view.
Oh, okay. Here, let me just get this in. Maybe a drop or two. A little more paint. And it'll just allow it to, I got a clump of paint in there dried. Where's that black?
I think it's circulating, right? No?
I'll use this one. So you can see this is what I was practicing with to create that effect. And you can move it. So you just put a little blob on. And you could probably do this with your air compressor at home. But I have an airbrush compressor that has a nice gentle flow to it. So I'm going to use my airbrush. and just move it around, however big you want, however small you want. And it looks like a colored, can you see it? It looks like a colored cloud. Yeah. So that's how I created this. This effect. And I'll pour out the bowl in the middle. But it gives that kind of colored cloud-like effect. They have the, yeah.
Did you use tape for the border to keep it from blowing over? I mean, how did you stop the thing?
So I defined the border first, and then I put shellac in so that if paint got in, it wouldn't get deep. It didn't tend to cross over, but where it did, I was able to wipe it down while it was wet. And then I just took my parting tool and cleaned out whatever paint got in there. So, but thanks. They do make pigments for resin that are chameleon effect. And I did this one. This is this, but it didn't quite have the effect because it didn't have the black background. This is supposed to be a chameleon blue-green. Let me show you. You see that blue-green? This was done on a black surface. This is bare wood there, yeah. And it reflects more of the color here. So I was hoping to get this shimmery hummingbird, but you really need a black surface very close to the top of the pigment. So this one will present a little more challenges because I've got a curve to this. And if you're working with the curve, it's going to take away the effect in certain areas. So you really kind of need a flatter surface to be able to shimmer. But yeah, this is the same stuff here. You can see what a difference in effect it has.
Did you hand draw the bird?
I used a scroll saw to cut out, and then I filled it with epoxy. I think we're running out of time here. Kind of how to do this. So I pre-prepped a tree and textured it, and this should be relatively quick. And then to show you how to use to dye it, and in that case I use liming wax. So this is a Christmas tree. It's been partially textured. I saw somebody create a star turning this, and then if you cut it away and your proportions are correct, you'll get a 5-sided star up top. I didn't have the nerve to do it before the demo because I hadn't practiced. So, but if you take that shape, a guy named Corey White is where I saw this, just on some Facebook page. And he made a really cool star for the top of his tree. So I will try that later.
A method for cutting that star, when it's in your chuck and it's mounted on your lathe, lock the spindle down so it can't move and use a grinder to grind it out flat.
Okay.
And then flip it over 180 degrees and do this side.
So, yeah, the thing that I want to be sure of is my proportions are right. I don't want a stubby little point and like long arms. So, you know, the angles need to be correct, and the length needs to be right to get a symmetric star. I use a variety of texturing tools. I have several. You can see here, these are some of the effects that you can get from texturing. Can you see those very well? I can pass these around too.
There you go.
So I did this with, I put the tool and the size of the cutter on back to get whatever effect. This is the Robert Sorby tool with, I believe it's the 4mm spiraling cutter on it. And Simon Hope makes one. The Simon Hope tool is a compression tool, not a cutting tool. So it's hard to go from end grain, side grain, because you'll have a very different effect. But if your surface is consistent, then it can handle either. You just don't want shifting
But the
grain.
three handles both. better.
Yeah, because it's a cutting tool. And it comes, I left them at home, but it comes with a variety of cutters. They have a mini tool that really pretty much accomplishes a lot of what the, I have it here somewhere. This one,
Oh, yeah.
which is the same, just much smaller. That has a bearing in it. This does not. So this nut tends to come out. So you have to position it correctly. I usually position it to the outside of the wood. And if I'm doing the inside, I'll hold it so it doesn't come unthreaded.
So what's that tool called?
This is a texturing and spiraling tool, and a lot of companies make them. I think this thing is incredible. This is the Wagner, and you can texture and spiral with it.
It's basically like a knurling tool.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you hold those under the overhead camera and see if we can get a picture of it?
Yes, this one created this pattern. Can you see that? So I think this is an incredibly versatile tool and a heck of a lot cheaper than some of these others. Ron Brown, he also sells his version. He has 4 different sizes. You can see here, well, I can pass all these around.
Kathryn,
Yeah.
that red hand sorbing,
Mm-hmm.
people have a hard time keeping that thing screwed in.
Mm-hmm.
But if you turn the wheel around the other way, screw back in and flip the tool over, it does the same thing, but you don't have to worry about it unscrewing.
Yeah, I've had to play with it and have found ways to keep it from unscrewing. But if you're not careful, you can ruin your
I had
project.
to pull the screw.
So of all
Yeah.
of those, do you have one that you grab more often?
I probably use the big tool most. Tight spaces, I'll use this. And it does have different cutters. But after making that little medallion, this thing is easy. You don't have to change cutters. It's a pain to change the big cutter here. It's tight. I wish it came with different handles so I could just keep it on each one on a handle, or at least have 2 handles. I think they have a system, but it's much more expensive and you have to buy the whole system from what I've seen. So I think this is an
But you
incredible.
don't have changing heads on that?
Nope, they have different sizes. I think Wagner has 2 sizes, but Ron Brown has a 1/4 inch and then a 3/8 inch. I think this is 3/8, a different company. But it can do amazing things. So I find this at Craft Supply, this is now like $50. I think when I got it, it was pre-tariff, so it was $40. But Ron Brown's are like $30. Okay. So when you're texturing, you actually do low speed, like 500. It doesn't kind of grab and take the texture very well, and you want to be at about center. So the different ways you present this to the tool will create different patterns, whether you're like this, whether you're angled, whether you come in. So the variety of textures you can create with this is kind of amazing. I didn't use it for a long time because I'm like, oh, that's one texture. It actually creates a lot of very beautiful. Oops.
That's the Wagner.
This one's the Wagner. But like I said, Ron Brown, Ron Brown's best. He makes a lot of turning tools. So I just kind of Present it to the wood, and we want to make sure that the pattern has developed. I had a tendency, I wasn't having much success, but I had a tendency to not so much with spindle work, but with bowl work, to not allow the pattern to take. You kind of have to hold it there for a while. Nick Agar has a really good video. He does amazing stuff with the sorbet tools. And then I just try to keep it consistent here so I get the same effect. And you see, I'll turn it off in a second once I do the top one.
So that's good.
Is the pattern dependent on the surface speed of the wood? So like when you reduce diameters there, does the
It
pattern?
does change, yeah. It's
Basically.
pretty similar, but you can see here versus here versus here, and now it's more of a kind of a stippled effect.
And that's
So
all
it
about
does-
the angle in which you applied it?
The angle, but also the diameter.
This is,
So, and it's hard to keep it consistent, to judge the angle, but I'm not really looking for super accuracy with something like this. It can vary, you're not gonna notice it. So I can pass this around, and the top line on each Christmas tree is what I, pass that, you can see it.
yeah. Just for kicks, I just looked up on Amazon for Ron Brown's texturing tools, $30.
Yeah, $30, and you can buy from his website too.
Yeah.
I think his shipping fee. They really are easy to use. Putting that wheel to wood, it took me a while to get success in getting the pattern to form. You really have to hold it. You have to listen. You have to make sure your speed is low, and you have to hold it long enough for the texture to take effect and for it to cut.
And you were at about 700?
I was at like 490.
Oh, okay.
And they recommend doing no more than.
Generally between 3 and 5.
Okay.
So look at Nick Agar's stuff, and that video he does, it's on YouTube, is it's pretty amazing. This one has been pre-textured, so I'm just gonna finish by, what color should we use? These are the artisan dyes. I used the rimmed bowls. There, the colored rim, that's what I used here. And the Christmas tree.
Green.
Green?
I would make it green and then use your fluorescent, or not your fluorescent, your iridescence, just kind of dabble around it.
Well, I'm gonna show the liming wax here. So this one's Kelly green, and this one's turquoise green. But I like that. I might do that on the one that I'm passing around at home and see
And
what
what
I
brand
get.
is that again?
This is artisan, this is the craft supply brand.
Okay.
And you want to wear gloves for that stuff too.
Is that water or oil based?
It's alcohol based.
Stains.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nasty when you get old.
Yeah, I got gloves in my pocket.
I have gloves. I had a piece of cloth because it's much better. The paper towel tends to fall apart when you spin it, and it's got little nibs to catch on to, but I saw it last night.
Which texturing tool did you use for this, or did you use like a Dremel for this bowl?
For that one, I used a Dremel.
Okay.
Yeah, with the little Coots, is that the name of the company? Head,
Okay.
a little burr. Quetzal, yeah, that's it. So let's see what Kelly Green looks like. You don't really need to spin with this quite as much. I might do the top a different color. So I'm just gonna hand do it, or it's gonna send it into shreds.
The paper towel.
Yeah, it's gonna get caught up. I'm gonna have to do it for the lining.
That's pretty good.
Anybody have an old t-shirt they wanna?
Donate on the spot.
I'll find it right afterwards.
It's the tool that you're looking for, so you can't find it.
Yes, it does seem to be.
Wouldn't like shop towels work better?
Yeah, but I had a piece of, cloth that I put in specifically for this, and,
The word you said was what?
Shop towels?
yeah.
Oh, shop towel.
If it doesn't shred, you just don't want it to shred. I'm putting it on a little heavy here. I didn't quite mean
What
to.
kind of paint is that?
This is a dye. This is artisan craft supplies dyes. And so you can color it does work better if I'm spinning it. It's going on a little bit uneven here. That's that Christmas tree there.
This also
I
works
spun
really
it.
interesting if you put some in a cup and water it down with some more alcohol and then put it through an airbrush.
And then what?
Yeah, I
Just
do the
same idea,
airbrush.
You're using an airbrush to apply.
Oh, okay.
And it can be very controlled, so you can do like thin stripes or whatever.
Nice.
Just have fun.
Yeah.
In the interest of time, I'm not gonna be a perfectionist here. Oops. Don't tell anybody about that.
Tool, it's okay.
Never.
It's amazing difference between what's on the lathe and what you see. What a difference.
Is there a reason you didn't do the top?
Yeah, I was gonna do it a different color.
It's a start.
It's,
Red, yellow.
so you can see with this one, it's interesting. This is actually supposed to be gold. It really looks more green. There. Everybody's
Kathryn Harvey to the rescue.
So this is liming wax, chromacraft. And it picks up those divots, the textured surfaces. So you just kind of rub it on
So it makes them pop out more?
like that.
It also picks up all the grain and everything else,
Mm-hmm.
unless you've like seriously sanded it out.
The thing about texturing work that I like is you don't have to sand quite as intensely because you're putting a texture and you're not going to see the imperfections quite as much. Oh,
So does the lining part of the name refer to the lining pigment, assuming it is actually lime?
I'm not sure what it's made of. I don't know if it's actually made out of lime or not. I don't know where it's gotten its name. Does anybody know?
Look up.
And the white gets into
All right, almost good. And then we get this thing spinning. I'll perfect it at home.
What kind of paste is that?
It's called liming wax. And it's a white wax that liming paste, liming wax. You can also use gild, which helps to accentuate texture. But this adds white to the, grain and crevasses. And then you just turn it off.
And that, does that become, oh wait, does that become your final layer?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can put a top coat on it if you want to protect it, but I probably wouldn't for something like this. It's not going to be handled. So,
Let me get way in.
oops. You got it? I'll pass it around too.
Yeah.
So it gives kind of a white coat to the green, but then really fills in where,
And that white stays.
that white stays. Yep. So it's a nice way to accentuate, but you do get a whitish coat on the whole piece. So it kind of, with Christmas trees, it kind of looks like snow. Yeah.
White Christmas.
So I think we are more than out of time, so I'm gonna wrap up. Any questions?
No, it was fun. It was very.
Yeah, it's very fun working with.
You'll have those notes you have, post those on the
Yeah,
website.
yeah, and some of the other techniques, I'll post information on. Jimmy Clues has a great article that he's written talking about the colored rims, but he talks a lot more about sanding, and I discovered I just sand away, and you see these sanding rings that are really annoying. So I've started using denatured alcohol to create the effect that I want, and
Because it does what? Denatured alcohol.
it blends.
Okay.
And then if I want to take off some color,
Yeah.
it'll also take off some color and line it. I do sand, but
Anything you wanted to say about the white bowl? White and black?
this one,
Yeah.
this is a piece, I was going to get to it if I could, but this is a Nick Agar, kind of his signature piece, maybe. And he sells a kit, but you don't need a kit to create this. I basically use stamps, and I brought stamps so people can see. The texturing tool and stamps, I ebonize it with a black dye, let it set, and then I use a gilding paste. That is, in this case, it's part of what he sells. And, oh, I put this on top of it. Yeah. So I can pass this around and you can see it. It comes as a whole kit, but you don't have to buy a kit. If you have dyes and gild, I'll show you quickly. So it's the similar thing. I've textured it. I turned it, textured it to get that effect with the black and silver. And this comes in a whole lot of different colors. You just take a tiny amount on your finger, kind of thin it out even more. And then, is that a good angle? Yeah. Touch it. You don't want thick or it's going to go into, in this case, it's a Christmas tree. And you just kind of touch it over the surface so that it will remain black where the, stamped indentations are, and silver on top. I can pass that around. I probably would put a little bit more on. Here, I'll pass this one around. This one's dry.
What do those look like? Or you just,
Here. So, yeah, you basically put it on when you're doing the stamping with this. I usually have it on my screw chuck to do the bottom. And when you're pounding, you will loosen that. So it becomes an unreliable screw chuck for turning after you've done it. So make sure that you're done. First, do the texturing and then the stamping. Because if that thing's wobbling, you're not gonna get consistent texture. I learned that the hard way. And then you just take these stamps, and I usually have it when I'm doing the back, and I take my mallet, which is right here, and I'll just, here, we'll just pretend. So pretend this is screwed. Can you see? And you just want to give it one good whack. You don't want to do it twice. You'll get a bad pattern. So just try to space, go around. Don't have your rim too thin. You'll snap it off. Ask me how I know. So I texture and I stamp, and you can see these various patterns and designs. I bought these on Etsy, and they have all sorts of patterns and designs. And I just go around, whack, whack, whack. Good outlet for aggression. And then put the black, and then do the gilt. Am I gonna get the hook?
I think we should wrap it up, but yeah.
Yeah.
I want to thank Kathryn.
Wow.